Do you want to get more listings signed and build a better relationship with your sellers? Of course you do. I'm going to teach you 5 simple steps that will help you objection block instead of being forced to objection handle. Now, if you've ever been in a situation where the client brings up an objection and you feel like you're playing catch up, I want you to know you're not alone. It's tough, but what if I told you there's a way to avoid that feeling altogether? A way to preempt those objections and take control of the conversation. Stick with me because that's exactly what we're going to cover today. All right, let's jump into number 1, and that's what we call the emotional barrier. Let's start with the first reason why handling an objection after it's been verbalized is harder. That's what we call the emotional barrier. Now, after it's been verbalized, meaning it's come out of someone's mouth, it's so much more difficult to do that. See, after it's been verbalized, and once a client voices an objection, their emotions are already engaged. They've been thinking about it, and now it's a valid concern in their mind. That emotional resistance is built up, and you're fighting against it. The longer you take to address it, the harder it becomes to change their mindset. Now, if you handle it before it's verbalized, now if you address the objection before it even gets to that point, you prevent those negative emotions from taking root. You're guiding their thought process, and you've already positioned yourself as someone who's ahead of the game. You've stopped the emotional resistance from even forming. That brings us to number 2. And in number 2, what we're looking at is trust and rapport. So next up, let's talk about why trust and rapport is a huge factor when you're trying to overcome objections. See, after it's verbalized, when an objection is expressed, it can feel like a challenge to your authority. You've got to work harder to rebuild that trust and comfort level, and suddenly you're in a defensive position and the whole dynamic of the conversation shifts. Before it's verbalized, when you address concerns before they're raised, you come across as proactive, knowledgeable, and in control. Your client feels like you're looking out for them, and that strengthens the trust you've built. You're the expert in the room, and they respect that. Now, let's take a look at how you can reduce resistance and build trust. I call this a simple objection blocking grid. Now, what we're looking at here is we want to make sure that when we meet with the client, we're understanding that at the beginning of our presentation, they're generally at 100% of resistance. They don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you. I mean, they might like you, but they don't know you yet. So all we're trying to do is take them from this state of emotion of high resistance, and over time, we're going to, during our presentation, objection block any of their certain concerns that they might have. For example, we know that pricing is going to come up. They're going to want to know how much all of this is going to cost. How long is it going to take? What type of marketing, photography, all of these things are you going to be completing to get the home sold? And possibly if you're going to stage it and what that exactly looks like. So when this is done correctly and we block this in our presentation on the front side, we end up at the end with a seller that loves us, and all they're waiting to do next is sign the listing agreement. So in doing this, the next piece that we have to understand is number 3, increased focus on the objection. Now let's talk about how objections can distract the conversation if they're not handled properly. After it's been verbalized, when an objection is spoken out of the mouth, the entire conversation starts to focus on that issue. It becomes the central point, and now you've got to spend time, energy, and focus to work through it. If you don't handle it well, the conversation could go in the wrong direction and lead to a dead end. Before it's verbalized, if you bring up the issue ahead of time, you're controlling the narrative. You're addressing it head on, which keeps you in the conversation focused on the solution and not the problem. You're already steering the ship in the right direction. And then we have number 4, missed opportunity for preparation. Let's be honest, when an objection catches you off guard and you don't have the luxury of preparing the perfect response, after it's already been verbalized, when a client voices an objection, right? It's often spontaneous and you're put on the spot. A rushed response may not be as well thought out or persuasive as you'd like it to be. That's a missed opportunity. Before it's verbalized, if you've anticipated the objection, you've already prepared a thoughtful, well-crafted response. You've thought through their concern and you're ready to present a solution that sounds natural and authoritative. Preparation gives you that edge. And then that brings us to number 5, which is impact on securing the signature. Finally, let's talk about how objections can impact securing the signature. After an objection's been verbalized, if an objection isn't addressed quickly or thoroughly, it can jeopardize the entire presentation. The client may feel uncertain, dissatisfied, or hesitant about moving forward. This could kill the momentum you've built. If you address it before it's verbalized, by addressing that objection early, you're keeping the focus on the solution. You maintain the momentum, reduce doubt, and decrease the chance of the client second guessing their decision. They stay engaged and confident throughout the entire process. So there you have it. Handling objections after they're verbalized is much harder than addressing them before they even come up. Whether it's dealing with emotional barriers, regaining trust, or managing the flow of the conversations, handling objections proactively puts you in a much stronger position to get your listing agreement signed. Remember, by anticipating concerns and addressing them early, you're guiding your clients through the process in a way that feels smooth and professional, and that's how you list more homes and build stronger relationships. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below with your thoughts or any objections you faced that you want to discuss. I'll respond to every single one personally. And of course, don't forget to check out my other videos and more real estate tips and strategies on how to handle objections so you can close more deals and creating a listing-focused business so you can work less and make more.